Imagine sitting at a dinner table, the clink of plates and the murmur of voices filling the air. It's a family gathering, the kind you've always dreamed of. Laughter, stories, love. But tonight, something feels off. The man at the head of the table, let's call him Daniel, looks down at his meal, his hands trembling slightly. Around him, the faces he's known since birth, his mother, his brother, his sister, stare back with cold, accusing eyes. Their words cut deeper than any knife. You've failed us. You're not enough. The warmth fades, replaced by a storm of betrayal. Have you ever felt that sting? That moment when the people who should lift you up become the ones tearing you down. What do you do when family, the very foundation of your life, turns into your enemy? Stick with me, because today we're diving into a truth that might just set your heart free. If this hits home, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a moment of light on this journey. And hey, drop "Family Storm" in the comments. Let's start a conversation about the battles we face. Daniel grew up believing family was his safe haven. His childhood was filled with Sunday church picnics, his mother's prayers, and his brother's playful teasing. But as he grew older, the cracks began to show. His sister wanted him to follow her rigid path, his brother envied his success, and his mother clung to old wounds, projecting her fears onto him. One night, after a heated argument about his choices, Daniel sat alone, tears streaming down his face. He wondered, how did the people I love become the source of my pain? It's a question many of us have asked. Maybe you've felt it too. Those moments when a parent's criticism feels like a dagger, or a sibling's jealousy steals your joy. Daniel's story isn't unique, but here's the twist. One day, while flipping through his Bible, he stumbled across Matthew 10:36. Jesus said, "A man's enemies will be the members of his own household." Those words hit him like a thunderbolt. Could it be that even Jesus understood this struggle? That verse wasn't meant to discourage Daniel. It was a wake-up call. Jesus himself faced betrayal from those closest to him. Think about it, his own disciple, Judas, handed him over to be crucified. Yet Jesus didn't let that define his peace. He chose to rise above, to forgive, to protect his spirit. C.S. Lewis once wrote, "We are what we believe we are." For Daniel, that meant believing he was worthy of peace, even when his family couldn't see it. The lesson here is powerful. Your peace isn't tied to others' actions. It's a gift you claim for yourself. But how do you hold on to it when the storm rages at home? Daniel started small. He noticed the energy around him, how his sister's demands drained him, how his mother's guilt trips left him empty. He realized their pain wasn't his to carry. Have you ever felt that weight pressing down? Take a moment, reflect, and share peace struggle. In the comments, let's lift each other up. As Daniel began to see this, a new question emerged. What if protecting his peace meant setting boundaries with the people he loved most? Let's explore that next, because the journey to inner calm is just beginning. Daniel sat quietly in his small apartment, the weight of that question lingering in his mind. What if protecting his peace meant setting boundaries with the people he loved most? It wasn't an easy thought. He remembered the look on his mother's face when he gently told her he needed space from her constant worries. Her eyes filled with tears and his heart ached. But then came the twist. He noticed something unexpected. After that hard conversation, he slept better. The knot in his chest loosened. It was as if saying no had unlocked a door to a peace he didn't know he could have. Have you ever taken a stand like that, only to feel a surprising relief? Maybe you've had to step back from a family member's drama, and it felt both terrifying and freeing. Daniel's story is yours too, and it's leading us somewhere beautiful. Boundaries aren't walls to shut people out. They're signposts showing what love looks like for you. Daniel learned this the hard way. His brother's jealousy had turned every conversation into a competition, draining his spirit. One day, inspired by Jesus' teaching in Mark 12:31, love your neighbor as yourself, Daniel realized he couldn't pour love into others if his own cup was empty. So he started saying no to late-night arguments. He stopped explaining himself, and slowly his brother's anger began to shift. Not because Daniel fixed him, but because he showed what self-respect looked like. C.S. Lewis once said, "Humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less." For Daniel, that meant letting go of the need to please everyone, focusing instead on honoring the peace God placed in his heart. But here's the challenge: what happens when those boundaries stir up more conflict? Daniel faced that storm head-on. One evening, his sister confronted him, accusing him of abandoning the family. The words stung, and for a moment, he doubted himself. But then he remembered Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, praying alone while his disciples slept. Even in his darkest hour, Jesus chose his connection with God over the chaos around him. Daniel took a deep breath and stood firm, not out of anger, but out of love, for himself and for them. He detached emotionally, loving his family from a place of strength, not dependence. Have you ever had to stand your ground like that? Share boundary strength in the comments. Let's encourage each other through these tough moments. This isn't about cutting ties. It's about guarding your soul so you can still shine light into their lives. But what about the guilt that creeps in when you prioritize yourself? How do you silence that voice and truly embrace forgiveness? That's where Daniel's journey takes a turn, and it might just change how you see your own story. Daniel sat by his window, the guilt gnawing at him like a shadow. He'd set boundaries, found a flicker of peace, but that voice kept whispering, "You're selfish. You're abandoning them." It was his sister's accusations replaying in his mind, his mother's tears haunting him. Then came the turn that changed everything. One morning, flipping through his worn Bible, he landed on Colossians 3:3. "Bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you." Those words washed over him like a wave. Forgiveness wasn't about excusing their hurt. It was about freeing himself from the chains of resentment. Have you ever felt that burden lift when you let go of old wounds? Maybe there's a family member whose actions still sting, and you're wondering if peace is possible. Daniel's story is about to show you the way. He decided to forgive, not for them, but for his own soul. He pictured Jesus on the cross, praying, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do." So Luke 23:34. If Jesus could forgive in his agony, couldn't Daniel find that strength? C.S. Lewis wrote, "To be a Christian means to forgive the inexcusable because God has forgiven the inexcusable in you." That hit Daniel hard. He realized his family's pain, his mother's fears, his brother's envy, wasn't his to fix. He began to detach with love, praying for them from a distance, letting go of the need to control their healing. And here's the miracle: as he forgave, his heart grew lighter, his peace deepened. But the journey wasn't over. Sometimes distance was needed. He stepped back from toxic patterns, not out of spite, but to protect the calm God had restored. Have you ever had to create space like that? Share, forgive, and free in the comments. Let's walk this road together. Protecting your peace became Daniel's daily promise. He cared for his spirit with quiet walks, prayer, and time in God's Word. He surrounded himself with friends who lifted him up, showing him that family isn't just blood, it's the souls who honor your worth. Jesus taught in Matthew 5:9, "Blessed are the peacemakers." And Daniel found that making peace with himself radiated outward. His family noticed the change. Some softened, others stayed distant, but he was okay with that. His peace was his power, his birthright. C.S. Lewis said, "We are mirrors whose brightness, if we are bright, is wholly derived from the sun of justice." For Daniel, that sun was his faith, reflecting hope even in the storm. And now, the question for you, will you claim that peace too? It's not the end of struggle, but the start of a life where you shine unbroken for yourself and those around you. So today, take a moment. Reflect on your heart. Pray for the strength to set boundaries, forgive, and guard your peace. You deserve it. It's a gift from the one who made you. Let that peace transform your family, your world, one step at a time. Drop "peace promise" in the comments. Let's commit to this journey together. Until next time, hold that light close, because when you protect your peace, you become the change this world needs.